Sveiki, this is Vida Mokykla channel and Easy Lithuanian video series, a simple way to learn Lithuanian grammar. And today our lesson is about the dative case. This is the introduction or part 1. According to frequency, dative is in the middle, having in mind all 7 Lithuanian noun cases. However, as I always recommend people, I assume you have watched my other videos, since it's better to at first watch the accusative and genitive videos and only then go to these noun cases. So I assume you have watched those videos, and as I always say, it's good to at first learn accusative and genitive, since accusative is used in simple sentences, very simple sentence constructions, and genitive is used with negative verbs and some other verbs, certain other verbs. But after genitive, well, I could advise people to learn locative and vocative. Why is it so? Because locative, of course, denotes places. It means in somewhere, and vocative is used when you address someone. So if you're just looking for basic Lithuanian, really basic Lithuanian, I'll say just learn the endings of these cases: accusative, genitive, locative, and vocative. So when you're addressing someone whose name is Lithuanian, by the way, because if a name doesn't have an ending like John, well, you cannot use this vocative case. So you can talk about places in somewhere, you can talk about going to somewhere or liking something, accusative, and you can use negative verbs and some other frequent verbs that use genitive. So I would say the really basic cases, the basic Lithuanian, you can grasp some Lithuanian, you can become, well, quite good, even if you just learn accusative, genitive, locative, and vocative. However, now our lesson is about the dative case, and well, dative and instrumental cases are used with certain verbs, certain nouns, or certain adjectives, or certain prepositions, like instrumental. So, well, they may not occur, they may not be very necessary for the beginners. But I'd say that if you have the time to watch those videos, just let's learn about genitive now. And if you just want the basics as quick as possible, go to the videos about instrumental case. So when dative case is used, the object that is in dative case can be the indirect object, as the object that is affected. So the object that is indirect is it means that you use dative case with certain verbs, like to forgive, to thank for, to give something to someone, to sell something to someone, to seem like, for someone, or to someone, to look like, as someone, to someone, to call someone. So it could be said that the objects are indirect. And well, we can also just say that dative is used with certain verbs, so that's it. Well, this is the first usage. Now the second usage is related with the dedication or purpose. For example, a letter to a friend. So the dedication or purpose, just like tools for something, or some object that is dedicated to something, that is used for something, or that is intended to be used, or something like this. So dedication and purpose, this is the second usage. And the third usage, this is the word that is in dative case, is an object with non-personal verbs and neuter adjectives. What does that mean? Well, we'll see in the next slides. But non-personal verbs, you can just remember this one simple example that's very common. Man patinka lietus, for example. Man patinka lietus. I like rain. And patinka means it is liked. It is liked, literally. So for me, it is liked rain. Or for me, rain is liked. Something like this is the literal translation. And the verb is non-personal. Something is being liked, but for me, so that means I like. Basically, well, these are the non-personal verbs. When something is being liked or something like this, and the verb is non-personal, so the object is somehow indirect. For example, man patinka lietus. Man is in dative case. I is in dative case. Man, for me. So with those non-personal verbs like patinka, you should use dative case. So turns to man. And neuter adjectives, what is it? Well, as I always say, if you watch my other videos, neuter adjective, for example, gražu, gražu, it is nice. Just like gražus, masculine, nice, graži, feminine, nice, and gražu, it is nice. So neuter adjectives always mean it is something. So it is nice here, for example. Čia gražu, it is nice here. Čia gražu. Or man gražu, it is nice for me, or it looks nice for me. Or man šalta, it is cold for me. Or man karšta, it is hot for me. So these are the neuter adjectives, meaning it is something and for someone. Now let's see some examples about the first usage of the indirect objects. I always help my friends. Aš visada padedu savo draugams. Aš visada padedu savo draugams. Aš visada help, padedu savo my draugams. For friends, literally. So the people affected, the objects that are, well, indirect, are in dative case. Draugai turns to draugams, turns to dative case, for friends. Because it's dative, because the verb padėti, padeda, padėjo, is always used with dative case. So you can ask me, well, how do I know if the object is direct or indirect? I don't know. Well, you just need to learn all those verbs that use dative case, and you'll know when to use dative case. I'll show you the list of verbs that use dative case in some few slides later. And now let's see some more examples. Dėkoju tau už pagalbą. Dėkoju tau už pagalbą. Dėkoju tau už pagalbą. I'm thanking you. It's the literal translation. I'm thanking you, or I thank you, tau, for you, literally. Už pagalbą, for help, for your help. So, I thank you for your help, or thanks for your help. So, dėkoju tau means I thank for you. Again, it's the case because dėkoti is always used with dative case. So when you're learning new verbs, remember what cases they are used with. Well, the most basic option, the most basic verbs, the simple verbs or verbs usually use accusative case. But some verbs use genitive, some dative, and some instrumental. So keep in mind. what cases should be used. So I think for you, tu turns to tau, and this is the indirect object. Now, cigaretės kenkia sveikatai. Cigaretės kenkia sveikatai. Cigarettes harm your health. Sveikata turns to sveikatai. And the cigarettes harm your health. And some adjectives can also be used with the dative case, as sveikata, health, could be treated as an indirect object. So for such adjectives like harmful, kenksmingas, for example, if it was an adjective, this is a verb, kenkia, and if it was an adjective, you still would have to use dative case. Kenksmingas sveikatai, harmful for health, literally. So with these adjectives, harmful or useful, you have to use the dative case. So harmful for health, literally. And kalcis naudingas kaulams. Kalcis naudingas kaulams. Calcium is useful for the bones. Well, it literally means useful, but it could be translated differently in English. Well, it means it's good for your bones or something like this. So calcium is good for your bones. Kalcis naudingas kaulams. So you should know that with certain adjectives we have to use the dative case. And kenkti, the verb to harm, kenkti, kenkia, kenkia, is always used with dative case. So that's why, perhaps that's why, the adjective that is derived from this verb is also using dative case, because the verb uses dative case. And well, there's no such verb with this word to be useful for. Only adjective is used. So remember that with the adjective useful or good for, in this case, so this adjective is used with dative case. Kaulai turns to kaulams. So the first usage is with certain verbs and certain adjectives. The second usage is with dedication or purpose. Ar šita dovana man? Is this gift for me? Ar šita dovana man? Is this gift for me? Ar šita dovana man? Aš turns to man, because dovana, dovanoti means to give as a gift. Padovanoti. Padovanoti telefoną. To give a phone as a gift. So with this verb you have to use dative case, and with the dedication, because the present or the gift is dedicated for me, man, you have to use dative case. Dative case, because it's dedication. Dovana man, a present or a gift for me. So ar šita dovana man? Is this gift for me? This is dedication. Vyksta lietuvių kalbos kursai. There are, or vyksta means is, are happening, but in this case it means there are. There are Lithuanian courses, courses of Lithuanian language, literally. Lietuvių kalbos kursai. Vyksta lietuvių kalbos kursai. There are Lithuanian courses užsieniečiams, for foreigners. Courses for foreigners. Vyksta lietuvių kalbos kursai užsieniečiams. Vyksta lietuvių kalbos kursai užsieniečiams. There are courses, Lithuanian courses for foreigners. So the dedication, well, not dedication, but the purpose of those Lithuanian courses, those courses are for foreigners. So you have to use dative case. So the second usage, dedication and purpose. Courses for foreigners. Kursai užsieniečiams. Now the third usage, the non-personal verbs and neuter adjectives. For example, man patinka mokytis kalbų. Man patinka mokytis kalbų. Man patinka mokytis kalbų. I like, man patinka mokytis kalbų, to learn languages. This is plural genitive, because mokytis, to learn something, we use a plural genitive, because this is undefined. You learn languages in general, so plural genitive in this collocation. Man patinka, for me it is liked, literally. Again, you may not like those literal translations since they do not sound correct in English, but you have to understand how the verbs work in Lithuanian. So man patinka, for me it is liked. So man, the dative case, aš turns to man. Patinka, to be liked, by whom? The dative case. This is a non-personal verb, but there are some other verbs that are non-personal, so you have to use man, tau, man for me, tau for you, jam for him, mums for us, and so on. You have to use dative case. Now, neuter adjectives. A neuter adjective is juokinga, 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 juokinga. Juokinga means it is funny. It is funny. So, kodėl tau juokinga? Why why for you it is funny, literally. Why for you it is funny. Kodėl tau juokinga? Kodėl tau juokinga? Kodėl tau juokinga? Why it's funny for you? Why for you it is funny? Well, what's so funny for you, or what's funny? So juokinga, juokingas, masculine, juokinga, feminine, and juokinga, neuter adjective. In this case, neuter adjective is the same as a feminine adjective, but in this sentence it's the neuter adjective that's used. So for you it is funny. Why for you it is funny? This is a neuter adjective, and it requires dative case. So tu, you, turns to tau. Kodėl tau juokinga? Why for you it is funny? So the third usage, non-personal verbs and neuter adjectives. Now, some basic verbs, adjectives, and nouns that use dative case. And well, nouns are not used a lot in basic language. I mean nouns together with dative, because it's a name of a feeling or a name of a process or something like this. A name of an action that does not occur in spoken Lithuanian very often if you're just a beginner. But the verbs and adjectives may be useful to know, since these are the ones that use dative case. And now you see what a big list. How can I learn this? But I put a star next to a verb that's really basic. So the verbs that are in bold and have stars in front of them, these verbs are the really basic ones that when you learn dative at first, you should better learn them, or at least see them, because they are really basic. And those others that do not have stars are not so basic. So, atstovauti, to represent. Aukotis, to sacrifice oneself for something. Padėti, to help. Ar galite man padėti? Can you help me? Kenkti, to harm. Kenkia sveikatai, harmful for your health. Kliudyti, to interrupt or to inhibit someone. Man kliudo, it interrupts me. Grasinti, to threaten. Kodėl man grasini? Why are you threatening to me? Grasinti. Patikti, to be liked. Man patinka, I like. And tikti, to suit. For example, man tinka, it's good for me, or it suits me. Man tinka, šitos kelnės, those trousers suit me, or these trousers look good on me. To suit someone. So tikti, to suit someone, and patikti, to be liked. by someone. Prilygti, to amount or to equal. Tu man neprilygsti, you do not amount for me. Or jis man neprilygsta, he does not amount for me, or he's not equal with me. No, he's below me. Priešintis, to oppose or to resist. Nesipriešink, do not oppose, do not resist. Nesipriešink gydytojui, do not resist the doctor. Skambinti, to call. Aš tau skambinau, I have called you. Skambinti. Now, adjectives. Būdingas, usual to someone. For example, well, this is more used in a bit intermediate Lithuanian, so I'll not say examples with these. Atlaidus, forgiving. Gabus, for example, gabus mokslams. Mokslai means sciences, literally, plural. And gabus mokslams, talented at science, or talented at learning. Gabus mokslams, talented at something, or literally for something. Artimas, close to somebody or to something. Man artimas, for me, close to me. Ištikimas, loyal. Ar tu man ištikimas, are you loyal to me? Malonus, pleasant or nice. Šitas pardavėjas buvo man labai malonus. This salesman was for me very pleasant, literally. Šitas pardavėjas buvo man labai malonus. Buvo man, for me, labai malonus, very pleasant, or very nice. I'm sorry, very nice. So nice or pleasant, malonus. Svetimas, foreign. And by the way, you know the book by Albert Camus. It's the book, I believe, is called The Stranger. The famous book by Albert Camus. Albert Camus. Svetimas. This adjective is the title for this book in Lithuanian. Svetimas, a stranger, foreign to somebody or to something. Svetimas, a book by Albert Camus, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. The stranger. Now, nouns. Užuojauta, sympathy to somebody. Užuojauta jums, sympathy for you. Gailestis, sympathy. Meilė, love for somebody or for something. So, meilė tėvynei, love for your fatherland. Atidavimas, dedication to something. Pagarba, respect for somebody. So, pagarba žmogui, respect for a man. Well, for a man in general, žmogui. Žmogus žmogui, pagarba žmogui. Respect for people, respect for a man in general. Pasiaukojimas, sacrifice. Now, let's see how endings change in singular. Us is e's turn to oi or the soft oi. Oi or oi. So namas namui. Kambarys, room, kambariui. Kėdė, a chair, kėdei. A turns to a. Mama, mom, mamai. Marti, marčiai. Well, this is only two nouns have I as their last letter, so you don't have to know this. Is for feminine nouns, like stotis, station, stočiai. Remember that there's also the sound alternation for this also. So t turns to ch and d turns to j. Stotis, stočiai. Mirtis, death, mirčiai, for death. Sound alternation happens. Turgus, a market, turgui. Us turned to oi. O, vanduo, vandeniui. Water, vanduo, vandeniui. Again, just like in all cases, n appears for those o nouns. Yeah, so basically all those endings for singular end with the sound y, you know, the letter yot, or the letter in English J, yot letter, as in Lithuanian. So oi, ui, a, I, a, oi, enui. Basically always e, the last sound is e. Oi, a, I, and so on. So I think those endings are not so hard because they are similar. Either oi, either a, or a. And the soft options, the soft variants. Now plural is actually very easy. I would say, as the plural genitive is almost the easiest, has the easiest endings of all Lithuanian noun cases, because it always has u nosinė letter, just as I've said for you many times. It's either u or soft u with a softening sign that's marked as the letter I. So u or u, very easy. But the second easiest endings are for plural instrumental, I could say, because it always has m and s. So ams, ams, ims, oms, ams. Now, however, the trouble starts in spoken Lithuanian, since in spoken Lithuanian the s can be left out. So the endings can be am, im, om, am. So the last letter is m. In spoken Lithuanian, the majority of people, I could say, leave the s out. So that's not good news for foreigners, since it's a bit harder to determine whether it was the dative case or some other case. But just remember that if the ending is m, perhaps this is dative case, since you know this letter m is not very easy to notice, but when listening to someone, but still you can notice it. Am, im, om, am. So remember that singular endings have the last sound y, although it's written as I, and the plural can have the ms or m sound in spoken Lithuanian. So if you're just keeping an eye for m or y, you can understand that dative is used here. So that's it for part 1, for the introduction, and in the future I'll upload the part 2. Thank you for watching. Ačiū, kad žiūrite.